Right then. So I had to. I was messing around with the new graphics and that. Then anyway, so welcome back to a. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? I was messing around with the crap. Anyway, welcome back to a Thursday night invasion. So my next guest is. We've already tried this once before, and there was a bit of a mix-up with the time zones. So unfortunately, we had to rebook it. So that's what we did. Anyway, so where are we? You wait till you see this. Oh, I love it. So guys, this is Tania from Tania's Made. Tanya Made? Yeah, Tanya Made.
Yep.
I love the beard.
Thank you. I grew it overnight. It took a lot of work. I felt left out. I read The Beard Invades, and I said, you know what? I don't have a beard, so I need to grow one.
Yeah.
So I got my dog. I trimmed a few extra hairs, and then I said, here we go.
The difference between that and mine is that's a lovely, nice colour, whereas mine is all grey and ginger and black and all sorts of colours.
I wanted it to match my natural hair color, so I was like,
there's 3% Viking in this beard, I only found that out recently.
This one's all husky.
Yeah. Brilliant. Right.
Yep. There you go.
Better. So
Yeah. I'm like eating it. I'm gonna cough it up tomorrow.
You know what? You keep that on for probably an hour, and you'll find beard hairs in everything. Trust me. They'll be in your food. They'll be in your drinks. They'll be in other people's food. Anyway, they'll be in your teeth. Oh, no. Right. Okay.
That's a little better.
Yeah, that's cool. Right, I'm just going to run through who we've got in the chat. So we've got 23 people in at the moment. Please share this out, guys. Let's get Tania a few more followers. All the links are down in the description. Anyway, so we've got Peter Corcoran, Colin, The Wood Wizardry by Colin, Gerard the French Turner, and Christine and Michael Hessetide. See you next week, guys. I said Gerard the French Turner. The Blue Light Turner's Workshop, Wayne the Wood Turner. Who else we got? Huey Lionheart. We got me in there as well. Sneaks Wall Art. Who else? Robert Dolman. Did I say Robert Dolman? I didn't, did I? Gav's in. Claire's Crafty Corner. AH Bespoke. Andy H is returning. There's loads of people in tonight, which is nice. We're turning by Barry. Whitebeard, it's my dad. But guys, if you've got a question for Tania, please put it in the chat. Start with a couple of capital Qs, just so I can see. I'm live, I'm terrible. Steve Ellis, Circular Wood by Key, Toonfish Grass. There's loads of people in. Brilliant. So let's get back to you. Okay, so I've been looking through all your
all my shenanigans.
I've got loads of questions for you that you may choose to answer. You may not choose to answer. But I'm going to ask you anyway.
I will warn you. We might get a visit from my husky. She's very. She knows that she's the star of my life, on the show. So she might peek in here. Right now, she's sleeping under one of my workbenches, which is now her hiding spot. But she's really passed out. So at some point, you might hear her or see her.
That's fine. We're dog friendly here. Well, we've got to be with my three wandering in and out again every now and again. So, right, tell us, where are you from, Tania? Because you've got an accent, but
I I was born in Tijuana, Mexico, and then I moved to San Diego, California, when I was 7, and we've been living here ever since. But I was
Oh,
born and raised in TJ, and luckily I don't have that big of an accent. There's certain words where you'll hear the Mexican come in,
yeah,
but and everybody is shocked when I tell them I'm Mexican because I'm obviously very fair skinned.
yeah.
Uh, but we're from like Guadalajara in that area is usually where the Europeans took in. So a lot of
Oh,
my family members, like my dad has green eyes,
yeah,
I have hazel eyes, and depending on what color I'm wearing, like my eyes will be a lot lighter. Like my
yeah.
aunt has blonde hair. I think the only dark one in my family is my brother, and that's because he worked security for like years, so he got like burnt.
Right.
So out of the
Okay.
whole family, he's the one, but it's just because, occupational hazard just got really, really tan.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's like me. I tan really quickly. You know.
I burn. I burn. I tell you, my body doesn't know it's Mexican.
All right. Okay, so I did see someone else there. Then no. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? I mean, I know you don't do this full time, but um,
That's the plan. The plan is to hopefully, right?
yeah,
Um, I try to do a little bit of everything. I'm a big fan of if I haven't done it yet, I'll try it. I'll
yeah,
give it a try. If someone's like, "Hey, can you do this?" I'll be like, "I'll try it." I'll be honest. Usually, I'm very honest. I'll be like, "Well, I've never done it before, but I'm pretty sure I can do it."
yeah, yeah.
But
Well, well,
yeah, I
that's
do
it.
a
You've
little
got to
bit of
try.
everything.
Yeah, you've got to try. At least if you don't, if you try and you fail, then you can
At
have another
least,
go and you've learned something.
yeah,
Can't get on with it, then you've tried. At least you've tried. You know.
yeah. I'm a big fan of try it twice. Maybe the first time it wasn't the right. But no, yeah, I do a little bit of everything. My most enjoyable part is probably carving. I
Yeah.
really, really like wood carving, as you can see by some of the stuff that I put on my Instagram. And but yeah, I do a little bit of everything. Right now, I'm officially working with a company. It's called Potato Parcel, and they ship out potatoes with like you can put your picture and writing on the back. And I got one. The way it happened, I got one for my friend, and she was bummed out that she had to like cook me because it was a picture of me and the potato. So she was bummed out that she had to make me French fries, and and then I thought
Oh,
about it. I was like, she was like, I wish I could save it forever. And then I had a moment of like, well, I know how to work with resin. So then I put a potato with my picture in it, with like my face in it, in a block of resin, and they liked it. And now they offer it to their customers, and I'm the one that makes them.
I was going to ask you
So
about that madness actually,
yeah,
because I
yeah,
thought,
it's what I've
what's
been
going?
working
What?
on.
I looked at it. I've seen it on your Instagram, I think it was, and I thought, this girl's crazy.
Right.
Why would you know, in resin? That's just insanity.
I had I had like a big issue too because I had like potatoes are so starchy, right? And I looked it up.
Yeah,
No one has ever put a potato in resin, and why would they, right? It's like one of those things
yeah,
like why would they? And and so I didn't have a reference for it. I was like, well, let's just try it, and if it goes bad, it goes bad. What's the worst that can happen? I waste like $50 of worth of resin. That can't be that bad. And so I did it, and the first time I got a big bubble on the back of the potato.
yeah.
And so, like any other time I've worked with resin, I was like, I'll just drill into it and then refill it. And I made the biggest mistake, which was pierce the potato with the drill bit. And
Right.
then
Oh, because the
and
moisture.
yeah, and also it exposed the potato to air, right? And this potato had been sitting in resin for a little bit. And so now it exposed this starch, like juicy thing, now leaving cut through it. And so right away I was like, oh man, screw it. I just poured resin in there. The next day when I went out to look at it, it was like to this day, it was the most monstrosity thing I've ever seen in my life. The juice, like the resin obviously takes time to harden, and so then like the potato juices seep through the resin, so it was like foaming. It was like the weirdest
Oh,
thing, and I was like, oh man. And so then I just messaged the company. I was like, you know that thing you guys thought it was kind of funny? Can I get a replacement potato because I did this? And they were like, yeah. And then like a few days later, I had a brand new potato to do it. And
yeah,
that time around, I was like, maybe I should film the whole thing because I
yeah.
started doing it and then just mentioned it. And so then I took pictures and filmed the whole process. Well, not filmed it, but like took clips of it as I was going through it. And and then I just made it. My friend thinks it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious, and now apparently other people think it's hilarious. And I've made probably like 8 of them so far, and we're
All
still
right.
counting.
See,
Yeah.
Claire's asking, Claire from Claire's Crafty Corner is asking, do you have to dry the potato out and does it not rot?
No. So we are honestly banking on the safety of it. I was doing 2 different processes of like where first I put a layer of resin and then cast the potato. I had a problem with that one. So what I'm doing now is someone actually mentioned suspending it with fishing line. And so
Right.
that's what I've been doing. Uh, but yeah, it's a large amount of resin, but it's still I tried to compact it as much as I could. And since they're standalone, the one I made for my friend, I made a stand and it lights up underneath, because of course it has to be extra ridiculous.
Mm.
So it looks so majestic with me just lit up. But so these ones we're just making them so they can just stand alone and like they can just sit on someone's mantle or something.
So it doesn't
And
rot away over in time. I mean,
so far we haven't had any issues because it's a full. The other one had an issue, I think, because the potato. Uh, I don't know if there was a bubble or something, but it started pushing onto the second layer. And
right.
with these, we haven't had any issues so far. But it's also a moment of like, well, let's try it and see if the
Yeah.
customers like it and like, how it works out.
Yeah.
And so far, doing one single casting with the potato has been the winning shot. But it's a process because obviously we don't want bubbles in there, and it's because it's
Mm.
just a potato, so there's nothing else kind of taken away from like being able to hide any mistakes. So there's been times where I had to ask for a new potato because I had bubbles in it, and it kind of sucks if it's blocking the writing or whatever it is because they put like this one for example doesn't have any writing on the back, but some will have like writing on the back. And And so I have to make sure that everything's nice and clear. I think the most fidgety thing of it is sanding. As you can see probably by the mess I had in one of the videos I put up. I'm like, this is the funnest part, right? It is because I do like dry sanding and then wet sanding. As some resin workers know, it's a mess. But
Definitely, resin
they
can be a
yeah.
total. I've gotten some right
And
states of
there's no way around it, right? Like so they're like, oh, I've thought about doing a flood coat and just like recoat it with resin. But it's just because I have like cast them and then I cut them to trim the
yeah,
excess.
yeah,
And because sometimes they'll shift or whatever. And but there's no way around it. I have to like sand it and we've tried like we had a couple trials and errors. But where I think I've narrowed it down to a good science and yeah, now it's kind of like been a good process of just like but every day is what I'm working on. I have it's a cool thing because now it's like I'm working for an actual company and I'm really happy about it. And like I said, I want woodworking to be my full-time job, but it's also like I have a day job and so I don't have much time to work on anything else.
yeah.
I have like a project that someone ordered me that I've been kind of sprinkling in between potatoes, which is like a weird sentence to say. I'm working on
Yeah,
potatoes.
yeah.
but but I'm really enjoying it. And you know, it has uh I hope it'll open up a lot more things, and the company seems to like it so far. The customers seem to like it. And it's been doing pretty okay considering that we just started it. So, but yeah, it's an interesting scenario. They make a lot of funny stuff too. I think they were on Shark Tank too, which is a cool
Well,
thing.
what's it called?
Potato Parcel.
Potato parcel.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Um. Yeah, they went out on Shark Tank, and I guess one of the guys gave him money or whatever. But he, like it has they've shot pretty like skyrocketed, and a lot of people like it because it's such a gimmicky and like funny thing, right? To like get a and it's so easy to ship it when it's just a potato too. They come in like those bubble bags, like these bags. So it's like the easiest thing to ship, right? Because they don't really weigh that much and not that big, and it's like funny and like, but it's
Mm,
cool. Like when I saw
brilliant.
it, I thought it was hilarious. My friend got a
Yeah.
kick out of it. Like luckily it was one of those days where she needed a laugh, so she was like, she's like, I couldn't stop laughing when I opened the box, like the box.
So, Larry C. Woodworks, Tanya, I am a red-headed Mexican myself, fair-skinned, hazel eyes, and all from LA.
Yeah, it's funny
Right.
how many of us are very light skinned. People don't but it's diversity, right? Where you're from and all that.
Yeah. So, Toompish Crafts, Claire from Toompish Crafts is asking about your jacket. Now, I was going to, this is one of my questions. Tell us a little bit about your jacket because
My
it's unique. I mean, I haven't seen
yeah.
another maker using a jacket in that way. I mean, that you've got badges on there and brilliant.
Yeah, I kind of slapped it together myself. It's one of these like tactical vests, as you can
Yeah, yeah.
see.
Oh, he wore one of those for
And
years.
and so so I because I can't use aprons so I have fibromyalgia,
Right.
and I can't do a lot of weight on my shoulder properly. So when you wear an apron, the weight is very forward and it
Okay.
doesn't distribute properly. So I realized that a vest would distribute the weight of like my drill or my hammer or whatever I put on me better. And so I had bought another vest, and it was very hard to kind of find where to organize stuff. And so then I was like, well, I'll just get a tactical one and then just organize things to the way I like it. And if I don't like it, I could just shift it to another like thing. And I got this company send me some of these like I think I don't know if you've seen videos of it on my Instagram, but they send me if I can take it off my vest these clips, and they're spider tool holsters. And I love it because they clip on, like you can put it on your belt or you can put it on something else. And the way they work, like this one's the locking one. So they make little adjustment, like different adapters, and you can tape them on. It has like a backing tape to it, and
Yeah.
you can put it on your tape measure, and they just slide in. And then this
Oh,
one locks, so you can just kind of like pull the lever up, and then you slide it out. And then they have some like I have one for my hammer, so I just like, and they make other ones like this one down here has like holes, so you can like screw it onto a wall. Yeah,
all
so you
right.
can. But since I don't have walls, as you can see by my my shop is in the backyard. Since I don't have walls yet, I just like put like a string through it and put it onto my vest, and that's how I have my hammer. And so I love it because this way I can just reorganize everything the way I
So,
need it.
having a
Yeah.
vest on like that, do you find that you don't lose things? I mean, the amount
Yeah.
of times I'm walking around this workshop looking for things that I've put down, like a
Oh
pencil,
yeah.
and I think, oh, where have I put that? And with having that vest on, it's on you at all times, I suppose. Plus,
Yeah. Also, I have like little pockets, so I've bought like these. Here, I'll show you. I'll lower you out of my. I also have boom arms everywhere. Like this is the way I do everything with boom arms. So that's my
yeah,
Dremel. This is where I have my
okay,
phone. So when I'm woodworking and watching my true crime shows.
yeah,
But so I'll give you a more better view of it. So I have these like pockets, and so it helps because like I have little like my knives that I can just kind of throw in here. So I have these pockets where in here I have uh my screwdriver, and it's like one of those multi-tool ones.
yeah,
And so I bought these tactical bags, like little pouches. And so I have another one here where I have pliers and pencils and these like other things for when I'm wood carving. I can stencil stuff in. And then I have like another bag down here where I have like my knife, and yeah, it's like I love the fact that it's tactical. So I have like my pens and stuff are all in here. I have like another carving like utility knife, like a regular knife that I made a handle for with resin from one of the potatoes, one of the pieces I cut off. And then I have like my patches because of course you need people need to know my name and my Instagram. And
yeah.
then I have like my little funny. This is for like cutting your finger. These are like demerit badges. So I have sliced my finger open. I have broken a drill bit. And when you measure once but have to cut twice, so it's because I still have to make it funny, right? Because it's like
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of like keeping everything funny. You know, I feel like you have to smile through a lot of things. So
yeah,
I try to.
so,
It's better to laugh than it is to cry, I feel.
yeah. So, shall we? I mean, the reason for your belt really is the fact that your workshop is in the
Is like,
garden. It's in
yeah,
the garden. So
basically.
you haven't got what we've got, like a shell. Places to store all these bits and pieces. Shall
Yeah,
we?
so
I know it's a little bit early, but shall we have a little tour of so people understand what you have to put
when
up with?
okay, I'll
Yeah,
take you on the go. So I'll do a big view of it, and then I'll take you through the whole place.
yeah,
So if we step as far away back, you can see that that is basically my entire shop. And as you can see by all the light, it's in my backyard. And so that's the entrance or the exit from my house. So I'll step out and you can see all my shenanigans. And I had to put doors on all my workbenches. I've never had to do that before, but now I have to do it because my husky. Uh, I don't know if you can see the paws and the face down there.
oh yeah, yeah,
Uh, but little Miss Stang down there likes to get into all my stuff, and so then I have problems like where all my tapes look like this,
oh no,
and I've had to replace cords for my bandsaw, like the plug-in cords. She got into those and thought it was funny to cost me like $100 worth of electrical work. But anywho, so that's basically my entire shop, and everything's on wheels for the most part, just about everything, because we have to be able to move everything around for parties and stuff. Being Mexican, we have parties for any occasion. Uh, so, so if we let's start from this part, and everything has to be under a roof, right? Because I'm also exposed. So when
yeah,
it rains, I can't woodwork because like rain doesn't come straight down; it kind of whips. So, and I have just about every tool I can count. So I have my joiner. and my thickness planer down there. Everything is covered because obviously if it rains, like for the cast iron stuff, I want to be able to keep everything nice and clean. So everything has to be covered with towels or whatever I can find. My parents are very fond of me because, as you can see, my wood storage is everywhere. So I have another workbench and a cart that's also filled with my dog's toys everywhere. But so I have that. Then I have my lathe that I bought, and all my workbenches are made from uh, pallets that I've picked up because also wood is expensive, so I pick up wood wherever I can find it, and I
Yeah.
feel like a workbench really doesn't matter what it's made out of. But
No.
this metal cart I bought off of like a metal worker, and it has like a janky wheel, but it's I don't move this a lot, so that works for me. And then we have my pride and joy, my beauty, my queen, my bandsaw Becky, and she's named Becky after Beyonce's song, but she's Becky with the good blades. So this is where I have her, and everything, mind you, everything in my shop is powered by this like external outlet that my
Extension.
dad. Yeah.
Oh.
So everything I can shut off my entire shop with pulling this plug, and I'll show you the madness of it. So this plug runs down onto a bigger port down there that then goes to an extension cord that powers my miter saw, and then has another extension cord that powers my sander, my drill press, and my other shenanigans down there.
Yeah.
But my table saw and Becky are powered on or connected onto this extension cord.
Right.
It's definitely a fire hazard, but we ignore it. Uh, so Princess decided to join us. She also likes to use my fan. But anywho, so we have my bandsaw. Next to my bandsaw, we have my other pride and joys, my table saw. All my tools were bought used except for Becky and my lathe that I bought brand new, but everything else is have bought like on Facebook Marketplace or wherever I can find. And so my table saw, I bought it off a guy on Facebook Marketplace for $200. Very happy about that. And then I recently put this Incra fence system on it because of my fibromyalgia. I don't have a lot of strength, so so the fence was a little too much of a hassle for me to push back and forth, and this one just kind of glides like a beauty.
Yeah.
Then I have my miter saw, and like I said, this like extension cord that is definitely a fire hazard, but we're gonna ignore it. So, so, and like everything else covered. So I have
Yeah.
all my dust collection in my shop is kind of run by a shop vac. So I have everything attached to everything. Like I don't know if you saw, I'll show you. When with my lathe, I have a port down here. So when I'm working, the dust kind of comes down into this
Yeah.
port, and I just connect the shop vac to that. For Becky, I have a port here that has like a little thing, and so I connect it to
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same for my table saw. I have, since I didn't want to go all the way under, I put an extension. I don't know if you can see down here
Oh yeah. I can see. Yeah. Yeah.
that I put down there. I also have like a laser down here. Everything's like hidden, which is pretty funny. The amount of tools I have that are like scattered around, hitting in different sections. So like I said, my miter saw has a port down there that I connect to, and I made this kind of like a hood situation. So when I'm cutting, everything shoots back, hits that piece of wood back there, and then goes down to a big vent that I can just hook up my shop vac to and suck all that up. Then I have these drawer things that I put random things in. I have my gato, quit it. Sorry, my dog's licking me. So I have my drill press, and I have two tool cabinets that I put a lot of my I put a lot of my like drill bits and everything into. I labeled all the drawers, but I still end up opening like 5 of them to find one thing. And so I have 2 of them, and I've reorganized my shop several times, but this time I put them back to back. So I have this one here, and then I have my sander, my sharpener, and so all these are for my wood carving knives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I have another port that I use for when I'm carving. So I put that on my workbench with the boom arm. So I have my scroll saw, and then, whoops, I have these 2 workbenches that I put side by side. But they're like tables from like an office that some office left outside because they wanted to get rid of. So I got those for free, and so I use them. They didn't have doors, but I just made doors because, like I said, Little Mustang likes to grab things. And then the main dust collection situation I have is this shop vac with one of these dust deputy things and a bucket, and that's how I do all my dust collection. I collect everything in this big bucket, and then I empty it in our trash cans. But that's basically my shop. Like I said, I have another tool chest here, a shop vac that I broke. That's my dad's. And this big cart that I put wood on sometimes. And the one that's covered up here is like, I have some like exotic, like fancy woods. So I put under here so the UV rays don't like mess them up. So I have like other wood in there.
Yeah. Oh,
But everything's pretty much outside and in buckets. So I have like all my scraps, like tiny scraps, because we can't get rid of anything, right? So, but everything is everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the main view.
It's a big area, but it's just
Yeah.
and it's outside. But Wendy asked, oh, where was it? Yeah, Wendy was asking about, don't you worry about thieves? But, with everything outside.
We have cameras in our backyard.
Right.
The only way they can see is there's a door right there, as you can see, that comes in, so you can see our backyard right there.
Oh yeah.
And the way like our house is, it's, I don't know how to explain it. Like the garage, that's the garage. So the door over here, you have to go through kind of like a little hallway next to our garage.
Right.
So, and we have a camera there, and our neighbors, they have a lot of people that come in and out, like, so they also see stuff. So I feel like we're in a very, it's a residential, so it's very safe.
Yeah. Oh,
And
okay.
we haven't had issues, luckily. We did a long time ago. We had someone break in, and we have typically always have dogs, and they beat up both our dogs. One of them got really sick from it and passed away like a few months later. They like stabbed her, and like we had to take her to the vet. Like she was like had so much swelling and messed up inside her stomach and stuff because they kicked her a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But it was like that was the only time we had a problem. But like I said, recently we got cameras and they're very visible, which is the point. And unless someone walks through that hallway, like go through that walkway next to the garage, there's no way of someone seeing.
Right.
So I feel somewhat safe of it because of that, and the cameras help. So, and we have a lock on that door. We have like a padlock that only like a few of us have a key. Like my mom doesn't have a key to that. Like just my dad, my brother, and me have a key. And like in my uncle, because sometimes he leaves stuff in my dad's garage.
Mm.
But yeah, it's very because of the amount of tools that I've accumulated over time, and like it's very very expensive back here with all my stuff, if you really think about it. So, but
Yeah.
my dad, we talked about it. We put cameras. We have a ring cam on the door, so
Mm.
and we can check everything through our phones. So, and I
So
think
people,
also since we got our
so they
dog,
can't. If someone was to come and steal something, they can't get it out. Other than that,
yeah, they wouldn't be able to get it out
okay.
unless they like. And also the lock is inside, so to unlock the door, you have to like
You go through the house.
you have to, if you want to unlock it, you have to like stick your hand through like the spaces between the wood, find the lock, and then like even we
Yeah.
struggle to unlock it, but like we keep it that way for a reason. So from the outside, you don't see a lock.
Yeah.
So you don't even see a handle on that. So it looks like it's just like just siding, like the fence.
Yeah.
So it doesn't appear like it's a door fully. So I that's why I feel a little safer about it. And
Right.
um
Okay.
and I've had to put plywood on it because we've always had small dogs, like a dachshund. Like I think the biggest one we had was like a cocker spaniel. She was like a lower medium sized dog. But since we got gato, which is cat in Spanish, by the way,
Right.
so I think it's funny to name my dog cat, but my parents don't. They refuse to call her that, but I call her that. Um, so since we got her, she has escaped a few times through that door. So I had to put plywood so she wouldn't have leverage. So even now there's less visibility. And now there's a big dog, even though she's the sweetest thing in the world. Like it's more intimidating for people to even like try to come in. And like you said, they wouldn't even be able to take it out
No.
because of
Yeah.
like the gate. Yeah. Like so they'll take
Um.
off with like a drill.
Yeah. Right then. Let's. Right. We've got about 20 minutes left. So let's have a quick look at your. Yeah, this is your Instagram.
Yes, sir.
799 followers. Um, See, I was going to ask about these here. Now we've spoke about this before, if you remember,
Yes.
um, and I think they're great. To be honest, tell us a little bit about those, if you don't mind.
They are wood paddles for when people behave, I guess you could call it.
Misbehave.
Oh, sorry, baby, I stepped on my dog. Oh, I'm so sorry. She like since she lost her sight, she doesn't leave like 2 inches behind me, so it's like a hassle
Okay.
sometimes. But
Oh,
so these are some of them, and like I said, everything she gets her hands on. It's I was almost done with these, and then I come home to this, to
oh right.
like
Hang on a second.
all chewed up. Yeah, almost done with
Oh
these.
no.
Like I just needed to sand it. But this is what I found when I came home.
Oh god.
And like, how do I get mad at her, right? Like,
No, you can't. You can't.
but so these are some of the patterns I've made. I have these two, and these are the ones that I cut fully through. There's other ones that I cut only halfway through. Quit it.
Yeah.
Um, but gato, stop. and I have a template that I made. But I started making them because of I'm part of the leather community here in San
Yeah.
Diego, and I just wanted to kind of like contribute, and also like it was something that I had in the back of my mind that I wanted to make some, and I would look around to see what other people were making, and I never seen a pattern like this. So then I thought, I was like, oh, I'll just make it. And so I drew something up, and both of these I drew up myself. Like I saw like a boot print and just kind of like took off of that, and then I took like I saw another one and kind of changed the so it's just, this one is the same pattern as this, but just put paws in the center of it.
Yeah.
And they were a hit, literally, huh? But
Brilliant.
but
I think they're great.
right, and yeah, a lot of people in the community like them. I went to an event like where they were doing like they call it a swap meet, and
Right.
it's like where vendors kind of sell their stuff, and I sold a bunch of them. Hence why I only have these two left that I didn't
Yeah.
finish before I went. But a lot of people like them, and I plan on making more if I have time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
they were
if you're
interesting. It was
selling them, you know,
yeah, I
if
got
you're selling them and it makes you money, then brilliant.
yeah, I was and it. I didn't know how people were gonna react to them. I was a little skeptical about posting about them. But then I was
Yeah.
like, well, it's a lot of the people in the community follow me, so I'm like, I'm like, it's just woodworking. Who cares?
It's a
I
wooden
did get
paddle.
yeah, I think I did get a lot of couple people where they're like, is that like a charcuterie board? Or I was like, sure, if that's what you want it to be.
So, Gav, what do you think that you smack with them? I'll leave that for you to think about. Um, and Colin likes
It,
them as well. Gets
it's
them to,
user's choice.
yeah, smack whatever you want as long as it's not your pets. Right then.
Right?
So, what I wanted to show people, the viewers, is that I think is absolutely brilliant. Um, some of these that you've been working on, these relief carvings. I mean, now have you done this with a router and carving? Um,
Uh,
sys-
all chisels and knives.
that is
I
absolutely
with the
amazing.
router, I took the big piece of like the background off with the router and did like the how would you say like the rough cut of it with a
Yeah,
Dremel, and
yeah,
then all the detail and the cleanup and all that was with like chisels and knives.
cool. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, there's moments, you know, when you like make something and it comes out exactly how you planned it.
Yeah, yeah.
And these was one of those moments where I was just like through the process it was like a headache, and then at the end I stepped back and I was like, damn, I made that, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I'd
I
be so proud of that if I made something like that. But it's and the thing is, it's not flat. I mean, there's so many
yeah.
levels to this. It's amazing. Is this the only one you've done, or have you done others?
I I've made smaller things like I made some Pikachus. I made a boot that I
Yeah.
carved
Yes.
a whole boot uh, out of it.
Oh,
See, their
there
Pikachus are right there. So I did about the same thing with the Pikachus,
you go. Yeah.
and the Pikachus were like like all chisels, and I did a couple things with the Dremel, but it was just like little sanding and stuff like that. But
Brilliant. Really cool. And I did see the oh, look at her there. I did see the boots. It's right at the top, I think.
no,
No,
the boot I think is all the way at it's further down. Or yeah, there
it's
you go. I still haven't
there.
posted the end of it. Like I still need to edit the last part of it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I put a
it's
speaker in it.
Into the end, yeah. Oh, just don't know. That's amazing.
Yeah,
It's all out of wood.
it's a full solid block of wood. Yeah. And I did, like as you saw, a lot of it with the Dremel, and I also did a lot with chisels and knives. But there were
Yeah,
certain things that I
okay.
was easier to get through with the Dremel. But it was, yeah. And again,
Amazing.
it was a weird thing that I had in the back of my head where I was like, well, I want to make like Rockler had just come out with those like speaker kits,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
saw it, and I saw another. He's not necessarily a woodworker, but he like carves like metal and stuff. I forget what
right.
his name is, and he made a dress shoe, like a
Right.
dress shoe, and put a speaker in it, and I I saw that and I was like, well, you know what? A leather boot would look pretty cool, and especially because it has such a like a taller uh back to it, so I thought it'd give it a lot more bass, and it did. It was loud. It surprised me how loud it could be for such a small speaker, and it came another moment where the whole process it was a pain in the butt, and then it just you finish it, you step back, and it's like, man, like.
Yeah, it
And then
really
I
is.
did the bottom, like the print on the bottom of it and everything. Like I cut out the little individual pieces for the bottom because at first I was like, I'll cut the like sole of it out, and then I
Mm,
thought the pieces were gonna be a little too fragile. Most of it was made out of basswood, but the sole of it was made out of poplar because it's a little harder, and I glued all the like the sole of it. I glued all those pieces in because I figured it would be a lot stronger that way because you're setting it down and um I figured it would be a a weak point because you're putting it down even if you set it down hard or whatever,
yeah.
like, or you can bang it on something. I didn't want those pieces to fall off.
Well,
But
basswood's very soft, isn't it? It would dent
yeah,
very quickly. Um,
yeah,
we've got some. Gav says amazing. Um,
thank you.
Wendy says a very talented lady. Um, Adam, wow. Yeah, I mean, everyone is loving your work. How long, Wendy says, how long did the boot take to make?
The boot took me, I think it took me about like a month and a half, almost 2 months. But that's also, you have to think like I have a daytime job. So I only
Yeah,
would work in the afternoon. So I work, I get home around like 2, 3 p.m. and I work until like 8:39. And so I get like 4 at the most 5 hours in the afternoon to work. And so
yeah,
by the time I start working, clean up and all that, like, and then cleaning up afterwards, so it did take a while, but the amount of hours wasn't that much. And also one part that kind of it's a frustrating point for me that everything I feel like it takes me a little longer than the average person because of the fibromyalgia. I'm a lot slower, but I still like I don't I just keep I find ways to work around certain things.
yeah,
Like the vest was a big deal for that because obviously the weight it distributes better. It doesn't hurt my neck as much. Like carving is really hard on my body. So
yeah,
I've what I did like I would raise up the piece of wood and I have like a vise that pivots and that helped a lot so I wouldn't be hunched over so much.
yeah.
But yeah, I got when I was doing the boot, I got sick because I got a pain in my shoulder and my neck from hunching over so much that I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
realize I was so like in it that I
Yeah.
didn't realize how weird of an angle I was in, and I ended up with like a bad migraine for like 5 days, and
Oh,
I couldn't work for like 2 of those days. But
Yeah.
but then I got a little smarter, raised it up a little more, and I just kind of
Yeah.
find ways around certain things.
So Andy AHP spoke says Tanya is a legend. She carved Jacob a captive bull rattle when he was born. Is that
Can you
you?
repeat that?
AHP spoke. It says Tanya is a legend. She carved Jacob a captive bull rattle when he was born. Yeah. Okay.
I've seen his stuff too. We used to talk at first, like he carves a lot too, I think.
Yeah, he does. He does. Yeah. I did see that captive ball rattle in one of your videos. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wood Wizard by Colin. Fibro is evil. Deb and two sisters have it. My wife has it as well. But yeah, it is. It does cause a lot of problems. Just simple things
Yeah.
that we take for granted. And I
I
mean,
know, right?
simple things, like, I mean, my grip isn't that good anyway because of, doing years of Aikido. But for you as well, people with fibro, it's just silly little things like gripping things and,
Or just breathing. Like just like you take for granted, like you say, take for granted so many things. Like I don't remember the last time that I physically ran. Like I can't run. Like
yeah,
because of the amount of pain I'm constantly in pain, and you just like I don't remember the last day. Like I don't remember when I wasn't in pain. Like it's
yeah,
so like I've had it since I was diagnosed in uh 2014, I think.
right,
And there was a point where it went downhill really bad, and then right now I'm pretty stable.
yeah.
But the depression that comes with it, it's like the
Yeah,
worst.
yeah. Well, it's because you can't, your brain. If you're anything like my wife's brain thinks that she can still do things. Her
Yeah,
body thinks
doesn't.
otherwise.
Yeah.
Her
And
body's like,
also like
you're not doing that.
when you're such an like I'm very independent. I'm very like I used to change my own tires. Like I can like if I would get a flat in the middle of the freeway, I wouldn't call the insurance. I would just pull over and put on my spare. Like
Like we do in the UK.
like you know what I mean? Like check
Yeah,
the oil, check like my dad's a mechanic. So like I'm so independent.
yeah,
And I used to like lift weights in high school. I was like in ROTC, like Marine Corps junior ROTC, and like so I to go from being so fit and strong to waking up and half your body not waking up with you. So
definitely. Yeah,
like it's like day and night. Like there's been times where I wake up and my legs don't. So then I kind of have to just lay there and kind of wait till they wake up and I can physically move. Or there's days where like due to the back pain, I also get chronic migraines. So then for whatever reason, I wake up slept wrong because I can only sleep on one side. Like but you just kind of like find ways around. You just get so used to, like I
got
said, I don't
to.
remember. Yeah.
And I think that's where the depression comes into it.
Yeah.
Because you want to do things, but you can't because your body won't let you. And then what do you do when you can't do these things? I mean, what you do? Just sit there. You lie there.
Yeah.
There's not much more you can do.
And
We've got
that's why I started
a
woodworking too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, my wife likes to do not fibro, pyro. She's got her own little station just here, but you know, it's getting out here sometimes. But anyway,
Yeah, that's the
um,
problem, right?
yeah, yeah. So my dad's in, white beard. Hi, Dad. Doug from Cold Barnes in. I mean, we're coming up to time now, but I've got so many questions to ask you, but um, I think I'll just run a few through you first, if that's okay, before we finish.
So yeah,
So
just grabbing my charger because my phone just beeped for me that.
Oh no. Okay. Well,
No,
we
it's
need
fine. I just grabbed my external battery. I forgot to
right.
grab it earlier.
Okay.
There you
So,
go.
I lost it then. I was reading the comment there. So what's coming? What's next? What do you really want to try that you that you haven't tried yet? Is there anything?
I'd like to do. Oh, quit it. You wanna say hi? Say hi. Say hi. So
Oh,
I know. Uh, I want to do. Quit pushing me. She like gets in between me and my workbench if I don't pay attention to her, and will shove me back to get away
I've,
from my work.
I've got a
As you can
Malamute.
see.
I know exactly what they're like. Yeah.
Oh man. But I'd like to do a lot more lathe work.
Right.
I I really enjoyed the little bits that I've done,
Yeah.
and but I think that's I'd like to get into like big carvings.
Yeah.
I really enjoy like chisel work, like carving. Like I get lost in it, but it's like one of those things that's so you have to get like you have to find the right audience, right? Because it's like so time consuming, so very detail oriented, and I'm the type that like when I did the boot, there was a moment where I had to cut half of it off and start all over
Oh
because
no.
I had over carved, right? So there's a moment like I just was trying to get it even and I over carved one side and there was just no fixing it. So it's like very like detail like oriented that like and all that obviously is time and money, right? So then now you have like the boot took me forever to sell because
Yeah.
and even then I sold it for like 300
Let-
bucks
Right.
when
People don't
obviously
realise what goes into something like that. I mean,
yeah
a carving. I mean, that crest, that coat of arms that you did.
quit it.
I mean, I can only imagine the hours that went into that. You
Oh
know.
yeah, that's another one that took me forever too. And by then I had gotten like I've already gotten a lot better carving, so it takes me like I'm more material. Like I already know how to get into things, and that's why I use the Dremel too, because it cuts like doing the heavy lifting, like cutting all the excess and all the like the cutting the big pieces off with the Dremel cuts a lot of that time off. But it also but like you said, it's so time consuming. And that I made for my uncle. And obviously, that's another issue, right? How do you price things? That's also
Exactly.
the pain of everything is that. And my mom hates me for it because, like, so it's family. It's my uncle.
Yeah.
And me being me, I would have just given it to him.
Yeah. Same here.
And, right? But that's not how life works, right?
See, this is something that a lot of makers, and I know there's a lot of makers in the chat that will relate to you and me with this. I mean, how do you price something? Do you put an hourly rate on it? In that case, you'd never sell the item if you put an hourly rate on, because it's your time and all that sort of thing. I mean, even if you put like £10 on £10 an hour, you know, on an item that's taken you 2-3 months
It's,
to
yeah.
make, you'd never get any. You wouldn't sell it, So then you've got
I
to be
know.
realistic and think, well, how much would it sell for, and is it worth my time in doing that? You know, but if
And
it's a
also,
hobby,
like, and everything I've made so far is basically the first time I'm making things, right? So I'm also like, I'm not proficient at it. I'm not like, not necessarily an expert, but like, so everything I feel like it's like the first time of me making things. So I'm also not going to charge like top shelf when
yeah,
it's not, right? So I try
yeah,
to keep that in mind. Also, have asked like 1,000 people, and it's like, well, wood price times two. or like materials price times that by 3, or times that we're like, but like I said, it's time, it's like,
Yeah.
and
It's
so
the
it's the
time.
first time
Yeah.
I make something, how do I feel of like, so it takes me longer, right? Because your first time, so you're just kind of figuring out how you're gonna make it. Never
Yeah.
made it before, so I don't have any way of like cutting corners, and I don't want to cut corners,
Yeah.
or like, right? So you're figuring your way through it, and obviously that's gonna take you longer. And
Mm.
like the 2 Pikachus I made, I'm like so much more happy with the second one I made than the first one,
Right.
and that's
What
just
first you
natural.
learn? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Right.
like that's also the issue of pricing. Like
Yeah.
everything's experimental, so can I really charge like top shelf when I'm kind of like guessing my way through it? Like,
I think the difference for us as makers, if we want to sell something, and I very rarely make two of anything. No. I mean, I'm making things like this just to fund the rest of my workshop bills, but I very rarely make two of something. So
yeah,
you were lucky enough to buy something of mine. You've got in there first before someone else has bought it, because there's a good chance that there won't be another one.
yeah,
You know, I'm not
and
saying
like
my
even
stuff. I'm
no,
just saying.
no, but when something's made by hand, like even the Pikachu's, they're both the exact same character. The only difference was the name of the kid that I did underneath. But
Yeah.
even if you putting those two next to each other, they were different, right? Even if it's like it was still a different, like both of them were
It's a one-off.
not completely different, but were still different.
So that's another thing you're paying for. There's only one of that item
Yeah,
ever, unless someone else has copied it or you've copied it. There's only one
yeah.
of that item.
And even
Um,
if like I made the second one's still different than the first one. Like,
yeah. So Circular Wood by Keith, and Keith does sell his work, priced to fit the market you're at.
that's what I
Um,
do a lot. I go on Etsy. That's the way I've figured certain things out. I go on Etsy and like I'll check the prices on there for that certain item
yeah,
or something that's
yeah,
close to it,
yeah,
and then just kind of work around there.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Right. So just before we wrap it up, now we've been rambling on for an hour. Come on,
Yeah,
quick.
I ramble a lot. Sorry.
No, no, no. It's your time. That's brilliant. I mean, I'd much rather you talk than not talk. You know,
Right.
uh, much rather that. Makes my job a lot easier by just listening. Well, um, yeah. I mean, it's been a pleasure having you on. I hope
Thank you.
everyone heads over to your Instagram and your
YouTube.
where are we? YouTube. Just looking, you got 274 subscribers, so I'm hoping a few people will go over and give you some love there. Um,
Yeah, I
and
don't
that's it.
post on YouTube a whole lot because editing is not my strong suit. And like you saw, I tend to ramble, and so I've had moments where I've like recorded like 50 hours worth of like a video that's gonna be 15
Oh
minutes.
God! Oh, she gone? Where's she gone? Maybe her phone's just died. Oh no! Right, we'll give her a second. Make sure she's see if she comes back in. Let's have a little look at the chat. There we are. There you are. You went off then.
Hey, I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize my phone was connected to the house Wi-Fi, and that tends to be finicky sometimes.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
There you
Aren't they
go.
all? Um, okay. Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah, you were saying about you don't really post to YouTube very often
Yeah,
because things are
because I'm
challenging.
not like um I struggle a lot with the editing because it's time consuming, right? Another thing
Yeah.
that it's like you work on this video and then you have to sit for like hours or days editing. I try
So,
to to pay someone to do it, but then that's also someone's craft that they charge a significant amount for, right?
Yeah.
So then it's like I'm starting, so I'm also don't have the money to pay an editor. So it's like I have to get better at editing to make more videos to then get an editor.
Yeah.
But the more videos I make, the better I'll get at editing. So it's such a like interesting scenario.
Brilliant. Well, we've had lots of nice messages saying it was a great invade. Good to meet you, Tanya, and all that. And good night, Wendy.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And like I say, thanks for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I'll keep an eye on your Instagram and that, and see how you're getting on in the future. Hopefully, this time next year you'll come back on, and we'll see how things.
Yeah, anytime,
in a year.
Anytime you need me, I'm available.
Excellent. And guys, thanks to everybody in the chat that's turned up. I really do appreciate you too. So Tuesday is Andy H is returning. That's his week on Tuesday. Next week on Thursday, I believe. Oh, who was that? Who was it? I can't remember. I've got someone else next week that's quite new to the Maker community, our little Maker community anyway. So keep your eyes peeled, and I'll announce that in the week. Anyway, again, thanks, Tanya, and I'll see you lots soon.
Anytime. Bye. Thank you, everybody.